Just my favorite snacky. I got my carrots. I got my hummus. I got my Red Bull. I got you. Simple tweet. Why are all the landlord sims so mad? I'll tell you why. I have the answer. Landlordism, much like becoming a billionaire, is a very appealing endeavor. Let's be honest though. Let's be honest. Why do so many people not think critically about the way in which landlords operate? I think I have the answer. Now, most people do not think about whether or not landlordism is a noble pursuit because whenever you strip away the money, the profit margins, the act itself is incredibly exploitative. There's no way around it. But it's the idea that maybe one day, like a temporarily embarrassed millionaire or billionaire, if one day you acquire enough funds or enough money or enough excess capital, you too could make this kind of investment and you could one day profit handsomely from this property if you had the means, right? Now, we don't necessarily talk about how we're seeing a major discrepancy, right? Because so many people who do think that landlordism is a noble pursuit in that they one day would like to be able to do the same thing, be able to invest in a property. In the long term, it will reward you handsomely with a profit margin if it is not a risky investment, if you do have the ability to use the money collected from your tenants to pay your mortgage in a timely manner, then in the long run, this is a great investment. It's a lot of money that you can make in excess, all right? But let's talk about this. Why so many people who are standing landlords right now are so vehemently against any protections to allow tenants to shelter in place. They are siding with the landlords, stating that tenants have a contractual obligation to pay rent. If they can't pay the rent, no matter the externalities right now with regard to our broken economic system that literally imploded the second there was a fracture, like COVID-19, that led to devastating economic downturn of epic proportion that no tenant had any control over. They lost their job. They weren't able to pay the rent. It's as simple as that. All right? It is as simple as that. This is not something that should be, this is no fault of the tenant, but a system that has allowed this to happen, in part because, yes, we have a very weak economic system that requires labor, and whenever this externality hits our country, that required a lot of changes to our current system, where the 5 most vulnerable and most impacted industries do include those who make well below the median income. Those are the ones who lost their jobs first. That's not necessarily the fault of the low-wage employee. It is the fact that the government failed to respond by providing a UBI or a recurring payment to allow those who had lost their job to have money available to continue to make purchases and be able to pay their rent and utilities. All right, that was a fuck up on the government's part. All right, first and foremost, yes. But the fact that the federal government or the state or local government has not been able to provide funding to those who are most at risk for eviction, all right, has led to landlords making the decision to evict them without paying any mind to the fact that we are in the midst of a global pandemic. It's a major health crisis. It is an infectious disease that causes massive numbers in deaths already, and there's no cure. It is a moral argument at this point. Fuck the financial argument. It's a moral argument that landlords would be willing. It goes back to it's the foundation of market fundamentalism and real estate speculations that landlords would rather kick out their tenants and allow those units to sit vacant as opposed to let their tenants shelter in place. I'm assuming that up until that point, tenants were adhering to the contract. And it's the fact that landlords are not acting in good faith right now and are willing to throw their tenants out, even though they know why they can't pay rent. It's not like it's a big old fucking mystery. They lost their job because of COVID-19. They can't pay rent because of COVID-19. And it's the fact that they have no moral high ground at the moment to allow their tenants to shelter in place and allow the risk to be carried over into whether or not they will get that money back. Instead, They are saying, if you're not paying, I would rather this unit sit vacant than allow you to occupy my space free of charge. So yes, it does come down to it comes down to a moral argument here. But let's go back to why so many people are standing the hell out of landlords. Disgusting, by the way. Just disgusting. I haven't even cracked open my Red Bull yet. Hey, thanks, capitalism. Of course. So let's go back to those who are standing the hell out of landlords right now. Could it be because the idea is appealing to them that one day maybe they could make a similar investment and then they would be able to profit the same way that landlords can profit if their investment is not a risky endeavor? Don't you think that it's kind of strange that right now you have these landlord stands who are saying, look, if you can't pay, get the fuck out. You're not going to be infringing on somebody else's property without, I can't even remember like the full extent, just like some people's argument, but making the case that you have no right to stay in a property that you're not paying for if you have broken your contract. This is non-consensual. You are breaking the lease, and for that reason, you should not be entitled to staying in place, despite the fact that we're in the midst of a global pandemic. Never mind, if you can't pay, you should get the fuck out, all right? So many people are making such a callous rebuttal here. But at the same time, I do think that, like temporarily embarrassed billionaires, you are thinking to yourself, I would love one day to be able to be a landlord. Why? Let's think about why you want to be a landlord one day. Because probably you are willing to admit that it would be an easy investment that would pay off in the long run if you had that money available. If you had the excess capital available to make that investment, albeit risky investment. You understand that the profits that you would be then inclined to receive would pay off handsomely. It is a reward system. It is a reward system that you can see has an advantage. All right. And for that reason, you will not discount the importance of keeping landlords as part of our rental housing market, which is another reason why we are in this predicament, because the federal government has offset their responsibilities to the people who need housing, which is everyone. Housing is a basic human right, or it's a bare necessity, no matter how you spin it. It's the fact that the federal government has failed to provide adequate housing stock. The federal government has failed to provide adequate housing stock and has instead offset the responsibility to the private market, and we literally rely on landlords to provide housing. That is one of the other fucked up things in this equation. The fact that we have to rely on landlords in order to secure our own shelter. That is mistake number 2 that we make. We are at the mercy of these people. We should not be at the mercy of these people who continuously drive up the cost as much as the market can bear in order to receive a profit. All right? The fact that that is the exchange. All right? Landlords extract as much wealth from us as possible in exchange for a roof over our head. This kind of security that everybody should be given. But you have to pay for it at a hefty price. And that is another flaw in our system. The fact that we rely so heavily on a private market that is based on profit in order to have a roof over our head. That is, it's an unjust system to begin with. Buying a house is one of the least risk investments since you have collateral in the house. Not everybody is offered the opportunity to take out a mortgage. Do you know how many people are still denied to this day based on the color of their skin? I mean, and the fact that maybe you have a fuck ton, don't even make it a racial argument, although it is heavily based on racism still to this day. Think about all of the people who, if they defaulted on their student loans, maybe they're in credit card debt, maybe they were down at one point financially, and now they will never qualify for a house. They're fucked. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, the loss of industry isn't a thing. What do you mean? What's going on, Snarky? It seems like I heard in school one time that in order to live, humans need food, water, and shelter. Yeah. Those are bare necessities. Bare necessities. Nice, Snarky. Nice, Snarky. I have been yelling at landlord stands. I don't even know if they're landlords so much as people who just like look the boots. Don't eat the mic also. It's always, why do you want to tell people what to do with their property? They worked hard for that. Isn't that the worst? Isn't that the worst whenever they... First and foremost, how can you even feel comfortable making that argument whenever land is one of the most inherited goods? So the fact that most people who have property or have land, it's from inheritance and not something that they worked hard for is beyond me. Imagine being born into wealth now. Can't. Grew up pretty poor myself. I like that some of the most common assumptions that I saw on all of the Twitter threads today was that I must just be salty because I hate rich people, or maybe I'm a socialist trust fund baby and so I have the ability to speak on behalf of these things because I'm in a position of privilege and it's my wealth guilt. It's my rich guilt. It's my rich guilt that is making me speak out against these injustices. Listen, my great-great-great-great-grandfather murdered a bunch of people. For this land, I deserve it. It's also kind of... Bomber? It's also disheartening to hear so many people talk about the necessity of upholding and adhering to property law which is just insane, considering the origins of this country, which is at this point such a weak talking point. Your art knows karate? The fuck are you talking about? When I was younger, I didn't even notice that all the buildings in my city were owned by someone. I wonder if a lot of people are like that. I have no idea. Most of the commercial spaces are owned by like large private equity firms or large real estate developments with pretty large portfolios. Are you promoting Red Bull right now? I just drink the fuck out of Red Bull because I like it. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm not dead on the inside. Not true? What do you mean not true? Be careful. Too much caffeine intake when you're young fucks you up later in life. Oh, how so? I have 3 tenants. One is 94 and I help her. Oh, you're a landlord. I'm a landlord and I can't even find tenants right now? I don't believe that, Chadjeet Thundertrode. I don't believe that you are a landlord. Hi, Black Knight. I just don't believe it. My hummus is delicious. All right. All right, riddle me this. Chadjeet Thundertrode. If you're a landlord, why would you spend your time in my chat? I mean, typically you don't make inflammatory statements. You usually vibe pretty well with everyone else. I own one single house. I rent out the second floor. I just use it to offset the cost of living in the city. How was my day off? I don't know. I was like I slept the whole time. I don't know if it's just, you know, falling into a deep depressive state or just suffering from exhaustion. You know, emotional exhaustion, psychological exhaustion, you know, all that fun shit. I slept the whole day. So I guess it was necessary. Landlords don't have jobs. Nice. Nice, Snarky. I feel slightly better. I feel like a truck. Same. Don't know what it is. If it's just, you know. I mean, this is not content. This is just me eating food because I forgot to, you know, eat food up until this point. I'm doing well, just over here trying to get down to the bottom of this. Landlords stuff. Why so many people stand landlords? So, Mr. Thundercock, you admit that you became a landlord to offset the cost of living in a city? What's your opinion on contracts? You mean tenant contracts? Tenant contracts are... Tenant contracts are written in favor of the landlord. They're written by the landlord. But they do believe in democracy, the Constitution, and the rule of law, and they understand that Trump does not. My contract is chill as hell. Basically, don't destroy the place. I'm assuming that you require monthly payment on time. Maybe like a 5-day grace period. I mean, we've talked about this before. I've talked about how rental contracts are basically put into place to ensure that landlords receive payments and then implement and enforce certain standards to be met while staying or occupying their space leased by the tenant. It's written by the landlord to favor the landlord. There's not a lot of room for negotiation. Let's say a tenant wises up and says, all right, I want to negotiate the terms of the agreement. In some instances, there's a chance for the landlord to say, okay, next application. And typically they have a pool of applicants they can choose from. Not all the time. But depending on the landlord, depending on the circumstances, if it's a landlord that's a private investor who has one or only a handful of units, then that means that perhaps they are in a place to negotiate. You know? Some bootlegger donated $1,000 to the landlord that got his place smashed. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that real quick. The viral video. Just watch it. Fuck it. Let's watch it.
I ask you to leave because I ask you to leave because you did not pay your rent. I asked you to leave my house. I wasn't evicting you. I didn't want to even put an eviction on your record. I just asked you to leave my house and you do this shit? Like, because I asked you to leave my house and you wouldn't leave, talking about, Timmy, you gonna have to take me to court? You do all this, though? Like, I ain't never did shit to you, never. I gave your bitch ass a place to live when nobody else will give you a place to live. And you tear my shit up. Ain't no scam, bitch, because ain't no insurance on this motherfucker. This is gonna come out my pocket, bitch. You gotta have insurance to pull a scam, dumb bitch. Like you did this shit to me because I asked you to pay me my money? I work hard every motherfucking day. I go to work and stay the fuck out the way. I don't bother no motherfucking body. I didn't care if you and your nigga was in this bitch selling drugs, doing whatever the fuck you was doing. I didn't give a fuck. I told you, long as you keep my house up and pay me my rent, I wasn't gonna fuck with y'all. Ain't no landlord doing that shit. Because I know y'all gotta feed y'all family like I gotta feed mine, bitch. This is what the fuck y'all do to people. I swear to God on my mama, bitch, if I see you, I'm going to prison. And that's on my kids. I'll shoot you dead in your motherfucking face, bitch. I'm mad as a motherfucker. I'd kill this bitch if I seen her. On my soul, I would. I'm mad as fuck. My motherfucking tenants called me and asked me for $2,000, and I give it to him. Like this, I'm not that type of motherfucker. This is fucked up. This bitch bogus. Bro, I'm so motherfucking mad. I swear to God. On my mama, I'm mad, bro. If I seen this bitch, I'd kill this bitch. On my soul, I would. I'd kill this bitch. I'd do anything for people. I work hard for the shit I got so I can feed my kids and leave my kids something. I could be doing any motherfucking thing out here. I go to work and take care of my motherfucking kids. I don't go out. I don't do shit.
Damn it.
Fuck ass bitch. Man, I'm mad as fuck.
All right, so we're going to talk about this.
This is why people be fucking people up. I swear to God. This is people fuck people up. I'm so mad. They know. Ooh. Lord God, I'm so thankful I moved out of Racine, because if I could have got to this bitch while she was doing it, it'd be some flower bringing in. Ooh, man, I would have killed that bitch. I would have beat her and her kids up. I would have killed them all. On my mama, I would have. She had them little
You're ratchet?
ghetto, badass, ugly motherfuckers running around here with a hammer, busting my shit out. Punk ass bitch. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
How am I ratchet?
Lord,
All right.
keep me. Lord, I need to calm the fuck down. But I know I gotta start getting this shit up and secure this house. I'm so motherfucking mad. Look at this bitch.
I just can't. Okay, so first off, I can't imagine, like, I have so many questions. First off, thank you so much for saying that I'm ratchet. I wish I have, so many people have called me so much more than that it feels nothing. I feel nothing. Oh my God, that's so terrible. Okay, so a couple questions, couple things. There is some counter arguments being made that perhaps this is insurance fraud, where everything is so incredibly clean and tidy. I love Ratchet and Clank. You think it's 100% fake? Are you ratchet because you're industrious? I'm confused. I have no idea how I'm ratchet. Didn't he say there's no insurance? He said that there's no insurance on his washer dryer combo. Ratchet? I mean, okay. So isn't the committing a crime doesn't have to be insured to rent to people? So isn't he committing a crime? Doesn't it have to be insured to rent to people? What do you think of Shahid Buttar? Oh, you're actually the first or second. You're the first or second person who's asked me about this.
The research is complete. The research is complete. The research is complete.
He made $40K off of GoFundMe even though he caused all that damage himself. Classic scam. Again, you can't hurt me. You can't. Mike really needs a new mic. Again, that's fine. So, here's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if maybe, because like the paint spilling is weird. Every time some landlord shit gets smashed, this could have been fake. I am new to this. All right, Emily, go ahead and that's Ratchet, by the way. What do you mean? He's a great medic. This is Ratchet. This is Ratchet. Oh, okay. He's a great medic. I see. Are you cold? Yes, I'm freezing. I'm freezing. I'm freezing. I just can't imagine. Like, I understand. Some people are going to see this video and think, oh my God, this poor landlord. I mean, what did this landlord was, I mean, obviously, if you're taking the side of the landlord because the landlord is saying, I was giving this person a place to live, I didn't even evict them, I just asked them to leave, I'm going to kill this bitch and her kids if I see them. I mean, the fact that so many people have reached deep into their pockets to help this person because they feel more sympathy for the landlord than the tenant that the landlord kicked out during a pandemic, during the international health crisis, during the time in which so many people right now are going to be at risk, and the CDC actually called for a moratorium on eviction because this is a public health crisis and we need to shelter in place as much as possible. This is a directive from the CDC. All right, so the federal government knows the risks involved in evicting somebody right now. And it's the fact that landlords don't care. Landlords don't care if they have the opportunity to vacate their unit and collect $0. It resonates with them a little more, I'm afraid. I'm afraid that landlords are, I think that they're class traders. They lack class consciousness. They have shifted their understanding. They don't understand the plight that so many people are currently experiencing. They feel entitled to their money, and they would, yes, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they would rather kick their tenants out and keep that unit completely vacant, knowing that they are not going to receive any money, and the opportunity for that unit to be vacated in the next 6 months or so is very slim. It's market speculation. Market speculation will tell you that during a time of complete uncertainty, where there is not a lot of prospects knocking on your door to rent out your units, will mean that you will likely take a loss. But in the minds of these landlords, taking a loss with nobody in their unit is the same as taking a loss by allowing your tenants to shelter in place. And it's the failure to act in good faith right now and to offer shelter to your tenants, who I assume up until that point of losing their job were paying consistently, right? It's the fact that landlords are willing to throw their tenants out during a pandemic because they are so mad that they are not collecting from their tenants. That is the issue. They're not going to be making any money off of their empty ass unit anyway. But it's the fact that they would rather that vacant unit sit there stagnant than let their tenant occupy that space for free. They expect the tenant to have money for rent, yet the poor landlord isn't expected to survive without the rent. Exactly. So I know that there's been a lot of discourse today. There's been a lot of discourse over this. $40 million facing eviction, 22 million jobs lost. 22 million? Oh no, sir. Or ma'am. I'm sorry. NB. Guy, gal, NB pal. 22 million jobs lost. Over 50 million people have filed for unemployment. So a lot more than that, I would say. How do you feel about Don King? But yeah, you're right. You're right. And I mean, who knows what is to be expected? No UBI during a pandemic and government giving one check of $1,200 is the problem. And you know, some of the discourse that I found myself in today was blaming liberal cities because it's just too expensive to live in these liberal cities. It's a liberal, who's telling you this shit first and foremost? Who is telling you this? Listen, I had to counter this argument by stating the fact that right now, the state most at risk for the highest number of evictions is West Virginia. It's because that state is poor as fuck. It has nothing to do with an affordability crisis. It has nothing to do with a high cost of living or really nice areas like you'll see in liberal cities. It's because people are just poor, all right? People cannot afford to pay the cost of rent It has nothing to do with inflation. It has everything to do with the fact that wages have remained stagnant, and you cannot expect people to pay rent whenever they're not making any money. It's as simple as that. Yes, I understand that some housing markets are more saturated than others. I understand that the cost of living is going to be a factor in some cities as opposed to others. It has nothing to do with the politics, despite what some would try to make you think. It has everything to do with the fact that the affordable housing stock is what is few and far between. If not, we wouldn't have so many units that are vacant. 1.5 million single-family housing units completely vacant in this country. Now, that is just the single-family housing units. We're talking 17 million empty units nationwide. It is not like we have an issue with the supply of housing. We have an issue with the supply of affordable housing based on an individual's median income. That is where we have a discrepancy. I'm gonna clap. I'm gonna clap. But people buying 200K houses for 500K is the problem. Clap again. Let's do the Nancy Pelosi clap. So again, we're going back to. Are we going to go back to the arbitrary nature of the arbitrary nature of appraising a home's value and property? Because yeah, that's problematic as fuck. That's problematic as fuck. It's not real. It's just as much of a social construct as money, or gender, or any other thing that we just kind of fucking made up on a whim and now we go with it. Yeah, the value of a house, the value of land, the value of property, it's all made up bullshit. I don't know who needs to hear this. The appraised system, the appraised value system is just a fucking lie. It's a lie. We made it up. We made it up. And now we just have the county assessor's office and we have the historical records of a property to build off of whenever we're trying to understand the appreciation of a home, of land. But that still is based on a foundation of lies, of arbitrary equations that we made up. That's it. The property of land is a lie. Land value property is a lie. That's it. Sup, Amy? How you feeling? Do anything fun yesterday or sleep? I slept like a fucking baby. I couldn't wake up for the life of me. And I thought that maybe if I slept the entire day, well, it just so happened that's what I did, then maybe I wouldn't be so fucking sassy. I thought maybe I am so sassy because I'm tired. Maybe that's why I'm so sassy. I'm just tired. I'm a little tired baby. I need to get a little sleepy weepy. I thought for sure that maybe if I got a little shut-eye, then I wouldn't be such a sassy bitch. And I was wrong because I did nothing yesterday other than sleep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's not why you are sassy? Well, the word sassy comes to mind. Sassy because stupid shit makes you sassy. Hi. How's your day going? Oh, so far so good. Just, you know. I've realized I've streamed Someone's Not Having It Today. Stream title Someone's Not Having It Today. Did you? BK, oh, thank you so much for the 10 tier 1 gift subbies. Thank you, thank you. Did you consider that this is the appropriate level of anger and frustration and thus not a sassy bitch? I had not considered that. I guess I just pay attention to the haters. I pay too much attention to the haters and that I come across as incredibly sassy. And I have a hard time really articulating my thoughts. You know, it's all up here in my brain. And then whenever I say it, it doesn't come out as planned. As for subs, any other subbies that I should know about? Thank you so much again, BKO. Sassy Amy scares me sometimes. All right? Sassy Amy scares me sometimes. That's all I know. I will say this. I think that this is one of my most popular tweets. And I'm so mad that it has a typo. Even though I fired off a new tweet, the damage is done. The damage is done. Any other gifters that I should know about, though? Y'all want to trigger a hype train? Somebody didn't get their chili mango today? I did. I did, though. I did have my chili mango. I ate all of it, though. I ate all my chili mango. You got 69 retweets? Nice. Oh, nice. Has Chad been Pepega today? No, Chad has not been Pepega. So far, so good. For the most part, the and I don't like to say Pepega because I know what it means. I know the origins in which it's derived, and it's not very nice. But I spent my fair share fighting with people. Chad is paprika today. Were the subalords off when I resubbed earlier? The subalords, I guess, are off on this scene. I am from BC, and I am really interested in what are doing. Oh, thank you. British Columbia. I love whenever Canadians come in and have a genuine interest in American politics and what's going on. Basically what I do is I try to use my knowledge and understanding of the housing market and the way in which it affects so many people to try to start reforming our understanding of the housing market itself and look for alternatives to a more equitable system that would be the exact opposite of what's going on now, what we have now. We love the Canadians, though. Also, something else that's of interest to me. I simp for you. Thanks, High Ground. Something else that's of interest to me is to raise awareness and build capacity to allow tenants to realize the power that they have. I think that a lot of tenants don't realize that you have the power to organize a tenant union. You have the power to negotiate with your landlord. If you do it collectively. Collectively bargaining is a tool that you can use. It's not just in the workplace. You can do it if you are part of a property management. If you're in a unit, that is... thank you, Pop Person, for gifting a tier 1 subby. Or, if you are a single... If you are a tenant in a single unit, like the one that is offered through Chad Sheets, Thunder Chotes house... You can still use your power, especially if you band together with your fellow tenants in your building to create a union and negotiate for better terms. I mean, there's history of tenant unions calling for complete rent reduction. There are tenant unions who have gone toe-to-toe with their landlords, and they have won. It's just something that is not common we don't have a lot of information about how to go about it. These tools are not normalized, they're not necessarily accessible. But again, these are all things that I think would be incredibly important if we had more resources available to provide more toolkits to tenants who right now are in the thick of it and might feel as though they are still at risk for eviction, despite the fact that the CDC's moratorium on eviction did go into effect today. It doesn't change the fact that they are still going to have their own financial burden hovering over their head once this moratorium is lifted, and they could be subject to eviction because they cannot pay the however months worth of back pay of rent that they owe their landlord. And that too is a crisis in and of itself as well. Just because right now people are protected and they can't be thrown out into the streets doesn't mean that they will not experience the inevitable once this moratorium is lifted. I've never heard of a tenant union before following the stream. Really, Pixel Cooker? Hey, we should let's collective bargaining can also be a form of government. What's your opinion on college dorms? Usually students don't have a choice and have to pick between expensive university housing or cheaper private housing. I think that the university should take it upon themselves to offer on-site campus as well as off-site campus. Prices could vary, but I mean, I think that universities should have the sole responsibility of providing 100% of their housing stock that would be essentially subsidized. You can't expect students to be able to afford whatever the fair market rate of housing is. They're kids, they're students. They're probably already inundated with college debt the way that it is. I'd make it free, honestly. I wouldn't make them pay a dime. I would let it be a lottery system, to choose whether you're going to live on or off campus, and then free housing for 100%. Like, who am I kidding? Yeah, like a lottery. Like, I don't know, chat, don't you remember whenever you were applying for college and you got to choose your top 3 dormitories, and then whichever one was open, like that's the one you... I know I'm 13, by the way. Well, fuck 1010. Jesus. I don't believe you. Listen, I was accused of being a 4-year-old today, so... From one juvenile to another, hello. Anyway. I paid so much for living on campus for sharing a room. Oh, yeah. Dormitories ain't bad. Met my wife this way. Oh, that's cute. I mean, yeah, 100% college. Colleges should offer free housing to their students. Full stop. Sorry, Chad. I forgot that I had titties. Don't look at them. People can be mean. I'm a poor boy and I have to live at home. I mean, obviously, Chad, I think that housing should be granted to everyone. Housing should be a human right, free of charge. I hate the idea that you have to pay an exorbitant amount of money just to keep a roof over your head because the federal government has decided that they are not going to be obligated to provide housing to those, especially who would be considered lower income. Human rights, by the way. Make some debts, as we all did. Wait, what? College used 50 grand for study, so there should be 4 grand for housing, I guess? Huh? Meaningful cry. I mean, obviously, did not hurt my feelings. Did not hurt my feelings. I thought it was funny. Make some debts as we all did. No, I mean, no, that's like the worst thing. Hold on. The whole like I got mines, or I figured out my shit, or I was able to pay off my debt is not something that applies to everyone. Not everybody is given the same opportunity for the same job after they graduate. Not everybody lucks into the same opportunities after you graduate. Incurring a bunch of debt does not work out for everyone in the long run, especially now whenever we're hearing people telling stories. I mean, say what you will about TikTok and say what you will about some of the dumbass shit, but people are literally using the platform that they are providing for themselves or that they've created for themselves to talk about how much debt they have incurred. We're talking about like the Fannie Mae shit, the private lenders who provided them the opportunity to go to school at a very heavy rate. The price that the price that people are paying off on interest versus principal for some of these private loans makes it almost impossible to pay them off in full ever. We're talking about the amount of money. Hold on, let's try to find examples. Like the amount, it is almost a death sentence to go to college in some cases. The amount of debt that you will be burdened with for the rest of your life is incredibly dangerous. Couple that with the debt that you're expected to incur to own a home, maybe take out credit card debt. It is almost impossible. It is almost impossible to live debt-free. And let's be honest, the credit system is not operating to allow people to live debt-free. The fact that if you have zero credit, you have a bad credit score tells you everything that you need to know. You have to prove to the credit bureaus that you can incur debt and pay it off responsibly. That is the standard to which that is the standard to which credit scores are based off of. Can you pay off your debt? And unfortunately, it works against you if you have no debt at all. It's a very fucked up system. This country relies on debt, is what I mean to say. And everyone is expected to take on their fair share to keep the system going. Why is that? Why are we all expected to maintain a certain level of debt in order to keep the greater economy afloat? Elon Musk said you don't need to go to... Elon Musk is a ninny. Elon Musk does not know what the fuck he's talking about. And listen, it would be one thing if Elon Musk was your run-of-the-mill, like, nobody who was in the favor of the working class and saying we need to stop pushing kids to pursue educations that they're not ready for just to incur debt because we are conditioned into thinking that you go to college after you graduate from high school. Doesn't matter that you don't know what the fuck you want to do for the rest of your life. You go to college, you incur debt, and then whatever you end up going with, that is the industry that you'll be working in for the rest of your life. And it's incredibly backwards to put that much pressure on kids. And if you had somebody who was a spokesperson for, hey, let's not allow this predatory system to engulf kids and force them to go to college and take out massive amounts of debt to go to these institutions so that they'll never be able to pay off their debt after they graduate, and they probably don't even get a degree that they really care about. They've just felt this coercion to go into the system, to play a role in the system that eventually does not pay off in the long run. Cancel mic abuse. If there was somebody who was a spokesperson for that, instead of just Elon Musk, who is obviously just completely against the working class at large, does not care about how much money and subsidy he has taken from the government. He is protecting his own business endeavors. He's protecting his own interests.
My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know, it's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know.